Good morning, friends. It is a beautiful sunny Saturday morning here, if not a little cold. We had a cold front blow in last night and I took Ada out this morning and it was very chilly. So I'm going to be spending most of this weekend inside, but honestly, I don't mind because I'm kind of craving a bit of a homebody vlog. I feel like I've been out and about lately. I've been running errands and doing things. This weekend, I just kind of want to hole in, do some cozy homey activities. I want to make some progress on my book. I just started reading The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, and the read I just finished before this was very disappointing, so I have very high hopes for this one. It really needs to reverse the disappointment from my last read, and I will probably do one thing out in that I need to run to Goodwill to drop some things off, and I might go inside to have a look around, but I haven't had great luck at Goodwill lately. Anyways, I think it's going to be a really fun weekend. Also, if you missed it in my last vlog, I dyed my hair. So if you just got a massive jump scare, I apologize. But yeah, I've been bleaching my hair for several years and I kind of just decided I was really tired of the bleach. I felt like my hair was getting really tired of the bleach. It was getting kind of crunchy and just not happy. And I decided to go back to my roots, which are quite naturally pretty dark brown. They're kind of the color of my eyebrows. It's definitely, I just got it done yesterday and it's definitely pulling a bit more red than I intended. I didn't intend to go redhead, I intended to go brunette. But my hairdresser said that was kind of on purpose because a lot of the color, like the warmth, the red tones will fade in the first few washes and then it'll just kind of give like a very slight warm sheen after that. So anyways, it's definitely a huge change. I've never had hair this dark in my life. I kind of feel like I'm wearing a wig. Like every time I look in the mirror, I get a little bit of a jump scare. But anyways, I think it is going to be a really fun, lovely, homey weekend, which is honestly exactly what I'm craving right now. So yeah, I'm gonna get on with my Saturday and take you along with me. Oh my goodness, what's happening here? Hello, my friends. It is later this evening. The sun is just kind of starting to set out there. It's actually quite a pretty golden hour. I have honestly just had a get things done afternoon, which has been really nice. I've just been doing like really random things. Like you saw, I hung those two little pictures over my new bookshelves and I did some vacuuming, mostly just kind of housekeeping things, typical weekend reset, which I feel like is always an important part of the weekend. So I did also want to say, because I feel like I haven't talked to you about audiobooks for a while, I have been in the biggest audiobook funk since the late fall, like kind of November. I think in November I was listening to All the Colors of the Dark by Chris Whitaker. It was an audiobook on Audible and I just kind of picked it on a whim. It was on my like suggested feed on Audible. I had known nothing about it. It didn't get recommended to me from someone. Didn't really know much about the story and I just kind of decided to hit play. Ada is being restless in her crate back there, so I apologize if you can hear her. Anyways, I picked up All the Colors of the Dark, or I started listening to All the Colors of the Dark just on a whim, and it ended up being such an immersive audiobook. Something about the narrator was doing kind of the voices to go with the characters, and of course the story itself too was just really well written. I mean, it's clear that Chris Whitaker is a very talented author. But anyways, it was so good and I was so enraptured in it. Like I was actually thinking about it for weeks after I finished it. I was listening to songs in the car and like thinking about how the song lyrics applied to the characters. I was just so invested in it. And I feel like I have never really had that experience with an audiobook. Not to mention many books. I've had that experience with a few books, but I feel like that is just a rare thing. And something about the audiobook format made it feel even more visceral. And ever since, I have been in the biggest audiobook funk. Like I haven't finished an audiobook since then because like a typical book hangover, I just felt like nothing was really measuring up to All the Colors of the Dark. However, I have finally thankfully gotten out of that audiobook funk because I am currently listening to The God of the Woods. And I actually started listening to it back in December after All the Colors of the Dark. I didn't really get into it. I was only probably less than an hour in, but then I did pick it up again this month while I've been doing random projects around the home. And now that I'm about halfway in, it's really picking up. It definitely was a bit of a slow start, lots of story setting. I feel like it had to set the stage. But now that I'm halfway in, the plot is going. It's a crazy mystery sort of thriller thing. I have no idea where it's going, which I always really appreciate because sometimes I feel like I can see things coming in books and that kind of spoils the fun. So I have no idea where this book's going, which is fun in a way. And so all of this is to say I highly recommend 2 audiobooks, and that is All the Colors of the Dark by Chris Whitaker and The God of the Woods. I can't remember the name of the author, Liz something. I'll put it on the screen here. But those 2 books have been great audiobooks, and I am very grateful that The God of the Woods has finally gotten me out of my audiobook slump because I love a good audiobook. Who doesn't love a good audiobook? And I really missed them while I was in my funk. So anyways, I did want to talk to you about that because I was of course listening to that while I was doing all my random things today. I feel like audiobooks are great for that, for just kind of puttering around. I also wanted to share kind of a fun purchase I made last week that is a bit odd and like not that exciting, but I'm actually quite excited about it. Let's see, gotta open it up. It's kind of big. So we live in a very small apartment. We haven't measured, but if I had to guess, a 700 or 800 square foot apartment, and there's honestly not a lot of flat spaces in the apartment, which is why in my last vlog I hung some new bookshelves. I feel like we just kind of have a shortage of both flat spaces and storage spaces. While I was in school, I was always thinking about one day when I was post-grad and would have the time to do puzzles because I love puzzles. They're peaceful to me, they calm me down, but they are very time consuming, and so they just weren't really a thing I could do in school. And once we got into this apartment and I've been post-grad, I've purchased a few puzzles, but then every time I start one, I end up having to like undo it and put it back in its box before it's finished because we have so few flat spaces. I either do it on the coffee table that I'm sitting on or the little kind of dining table we have back there, which is just like a cafe sized table. We use those surfaces so much for other things that in the time it would take me to finish the puzzle, we need the surface. So all of that is to say, I finally ordered a puzzle board so I can do my puzzles in a portable way, and I'm so excited. I'm gonna open it up. Okay, ta-da, here it is. It's obviously nothing groundbreaking. It's basically just a board to do a puzzle on, but I like this one because it's a big enough size to hold pretty much any puzzle I would want to do. I usually cap my puzzles at 500 pieces. I don't like those huge puzzles. And another really nice thing is it actually has these little drawers that you can sort your pieces into, especially if you're worried about them getting lost or falling off if you're working on it for a while. So I am very excited, and I will probably start a puzzle tonight, so you'll be seeing more of this puzzle board. I will link it in the video description where I link everything else. I always have a little link that says, you know, sources for outfit and home, and I always link everything from that video in that link, and I'll include this, and if you're ever looking for anything else, it's usually there, and if it's not, it's because it's vintage or not sold anymore. Anyways, I think I'm gonna take Ada out for one last round of fetch before the sun goes down and then settle in for a cozy evening. Plans include a puzzle and a movie because I am crazy and I have, I guess, just a really terrible attention span and like to do things while I'm watching movies and shows. I think we're gonna watch the new Bob Dylan movie with Timothée Chalamet. It's been getting lots of awards buzz, and I don't know, I'm just interested to see it. And I'll probably start a puzzle. And then this evening, I'd really like to sit down and have some dedicated reading time. I am only 50 pages into The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, but I'm honestly already hooked. I'm enjoying it, which is rare. I feel like books do not usually hook me that soon, so that bodes really well. In general, just a cozy Saturday night in, and I'm really looking forward to it. So let's get to it. happy Sunday. Hold on, let me turn off the space heater in case you can hear that. It has been such a lovely weekend so far. I have just been trying to soak it up. I feel like it's just been the perfect homebody weekend. And I'm just thinking about the fact that the rest of March, I think every single one of our weekends is booked with either us traveling or people traveling to visit us. Like, I don't think we have any normal weekends for the rest of March. So I'm really doing my best to just soak up the calm and cozy weekend that I'm having. And I'm truly so grateful. Last night was super fun. We ended up just making some pasta because I was feeling very lazy and didn't really want to cook. Instead of putting on the new Bob Dylan movie, because it's not streaming yet, you can like purchase it for like $25, but that seems kind of silly when it will eventually be on streaming. So we decided not to watch that yet. So instead, we were kind of scrolling around and we ended up watching the How to Train Your Dragon movie. It's honestly such a good movie. It was a childhood favorite for both Austin and I, so it was really kind of a fun nostalgia moment to go back and watch it together. It's just such a cute movie. We loved it so much. And that was pretty much the rest of the night. I was so tired. I didn't really end up doing much reading, but I'm hoping to do more of that tonight. As for today, it's been a bit of a slower morning here. I've just been doing kind of more chores around the house and a bit of work. And now I'm gonna start in on one of the projects that has been sitting on my to-do list forever. I think I'm finally gonna bite the bullet and tackle it, and I'll tell you more about that in a second. I'll probably work on that for the next couple hours, and then I think I'm going to head out and go to Goodwill, like I was talking about. I have my little pile of stuff set aside back there that I'm going to be taking, and then like I said, I'll go inside and kind of have a browse and look around, see if there's anything. But yeah, let me tell you more about this project I'm going to be doing. So this is my little reading corner. I've obviously shared it lots before, and I really love it. I picked up this chair off Facebook Marketplace over the summer. I've had it for quite a few months. And the intention all along was to have it reupholstered. I've never liked the kind of green fabric on it. It feels really dated. It feels very 60s in not a good way. Also, that's Ada's favorite little spot back there. Oh my goodness. Are you cozy, comfy? Hi. Thanks. But before I get it reupholstered, I also knew that I wanted to change the stain color of the wood because it's really kind of a bright orange that also feels very dated. So my plan is to basically tape off anywhere where the wood is touching fabric. So I don't want to just completely wreck the fabric. So I'm going to be really kind of carefully painter's taping along these seams here and here. And then once I get that done, I'm going to apply gel stain, kind of like, I don't know if you watched in my other vlog I used on this table. I will be using a slightly different color gel stain though. So that's my plan. And then once I get that all stained, then I can make the appointment with and get started on the actual reupholstering project. Even though I did this ottoman and this cushion myself, like I reupholstered this ottoman, I do think that this chair would be too complicated for me to do myself. I think it's going to be a pretty advanced reupholstering project considering the shape, the lining, the buttons. I just don't really trust myself to do a good job, so I'm going to hire a professional. But I'm super excited. I feel like that's kind of the last big step in this room is updating the chairs, so I'm very excited to get started.
There is a life I lead in this city, hurrying to cut my teeth. I can take what I need to get by.
Hello. It is a couple hours later. I ended up getting that chair all taped up. Now all that I need to do is actually stain it, and I may or may not get to that today. We'll see. Then as you saw, I also had a quick lunch and read a little bit more of Addie LaRue. I'm loving it so far, but I will wait until I've read as much as possible, hopefully this evening, before giving you an update before the end of the vlog. For now, I'm actually headed out on a few errands, one of which will be the Goodwill trip I was talking about, and I'll take you along with me in there. I'm probably mostly just going to be browsing the books and maybe the picture frames. I found that I don't typically find much in the home decor section these days, but I'll probably take a quick peek. So anyways, that's kind of the plan for the afternoon. I'm also going to stop by the store to pick up a few things for dinner while I'm out, but hopefully it'll just be the next couple hours, and then I'm planning to have another cozy night in, which I'm really excited about.
Feeling is all gone. Feeling is all gone. If I could take you back to my youth.
Okay, Hello, hello. I've just finished up at the store and Goodwill. Oh goodness. I did find a really, really darling potted daffodil in the store that I'm very excited about. But in terms of Goodwill, I did look around inside, but I honestly did not find anything that I was interested in buying. I have not had good luck at this location, and this is the location closest to me, so it's the one I normally go to. And I'm also trying to be more discerning about what I purchase and what I bring into the house, because I'm trying to not accumulate like a bunch of stuff and trying to keep the cottage as clutter-free as possible. So I'm really trying not to purchase things unless they truly serve a purpose or they really spark joy. And so the decor section is usually a bust for me, and I was hoping I would at least find a few books since I just hung those new bookshelves and they're very empty, but honestly I did not find anything. So all good, it's certainly not the end of the world, and at least I dropped that stuff off to donate. Now I'm going to head home, and I need to do some playing with Ada before the sun goes down because I'm sure she's very restless. And then I will get started on cooking dinner for the night. Oh my goodness, it is late. It is midnight, and tomorrow is Monday, and it's going to be a very busy Monday, and I think that I honestly just have the Sunday scaries, and that's why I've stayed up so late, is I don't want the weekend to be over. But unfortunately, I think it is time to admit defeat and that the weekend is in fact over. I spent my evening finishing up a bit of work, and as you saw, I made a cup of tea and cuddled into bed with my book, which I am loving so far. I'm officially 100 pages in, which is about a quarter of the way through, and I'm very, very happy to say that this book is scratching all the itches I was talking about in my last video about wanting something more profound and that makes some more points about the human experience. I was very disappointed in my last book not doing that when I thought it would, so I was hoping by picking up this book next that I would get some of that, and it definitely has been scratching that itch. This is my first time reading V.E. Schwab. This is my first of her novels, and I have to say that I really adore her writing style. She has a really beautiful way with words, and something I really appreciate is her writing really flows. I feel like when I am reading, I always get the sensation that an author either does flow or doesn't flow with their writing, and it's a very stark difference in my brain. And I feel like when an author doesn't flow, the story is just like being read off like a scrolling screen or something, like it just line, line, where when the writing does flow, it's just kind of like a waterfall of words, very steady input of information instead of like more jolted input, if that makes any sense. And maybe that's just me. I don't know if anyone else has experienced that, but V.E. Schwab has an incredible flow to her writing. I feel like my eyes just glide over the page, which is so nice. So far, the premise of this book is really beautiful. I love that you obviously get a little bit of background because you need to know what happened to Addie LaRue and why she's in the predicament she's in. But I like that Schwab is also keeping it pretty short. Like, she's not giving us this whole like 200-page backstory. She's giving us short chapters of backstory, giving us vital information, leaving some things up to the imagination, not doing a ton of world building. So far, it's just reading like a really well proportioned book, and honestly, I feel like that's been kind of hard to find lately, so I'm very much enjoying that. Also, I don't think this is a spoiler because it's mentioned in the blurb of the book, but the whole point of this book is that Addie LaRue is someone who no one remembers. Like, she walks into a store and meets someone, but then as soon as that person is out of eyesight, they forget her, and so she's like eternally forgettable. Obviously, really lonely existence. She's been living this way for hundreds of years, until one day she stumbles into a bookstore and meets someone who does remember her. I just got to that part where she meets that cashier and I'm already so excited to see their story. I feel like the two characters, Addie LaRue and this guy, are really great foils for one another, and I'm very interested to see how Schwab kind of weaves their stories together. So anyways, I'm definitely moving through it pretty quickly because I would say prose wise it's pretty dense. It's not especially light reading, it's not a ton of dialogue, so I feel like it would typically read pretty slow, but I do feel like I'm moving through it pretty quickly for that, and mostly because of, like I was saying, the flow. I'm hoping that I will finish it in the next vlog so I can give you my thoughts then, but I will say so far I am absolutely loving it. I've heard such good things about this novel. I swear every time I post it, a picture on my Instagram story or I tell someone I'm reading it, they like laud it. I feel like I've heard really, really great reviews. So I am super excited to keep reading it, and I will obviously keep you updated as I do. But I just wanted to close out the vlog here and say thank you very much for spending the weekend with me. It was definitely a busy weekend and kind of a boring weekend by some measures, but I honestly really enjoyed it. I just think it's such a blessing, honestly, to be able to enjoy just a slow, normal weekend at home. Being a student, I used to really long for kind of normal weekends, because when you're a student, usually you don't really get a normal weekend. There's usually obligations and assignments that take up your weekend. So I try to remember that and be grateful now that I have had some more normal weekends. And you can do things like read and make cups of tea and just generally have a really good time. So hope you enjoyed this homebody vlog. It seems like a lot of you are kind of kindred spirits in that way. I think a lot of us here are homebodies, so I'm grateful that you found your way to my little corner of the internet. And yeah, I will see you in next week's video. And in the meantime, I hope you have a lovely week ahead, and I will chat with you soon. Bye, friends.